Hi, this is Kat Sturtz from Fast Action Fridays with another episode. And we have a special one going live today directly to Facebook on the Rocking Your Path page and in the Rocking Your Path community. And we will be replaying this in both places as well as on our website and on YouTube. So we hope you join us there. We've got a special one today because we're talking about creating traditions for you and your business. Ones that you love, ones that you embrace, ones that you do just because you may love your family and you want to keep certain traditions alive. And we're also going to talk about a few traditions that you may want to let go of without any lingering guilt that you're doing so. How does that sound, Santa?
Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good to me. Wow.
Sounds like I'm with Mickey Mouse instead of Santa. Well, the reason we are dressed up, so to speak, as Mr. and Mrs. Claus is because portraying Santa and Mrs. Claus each year is probably our biggest tradition that we do every year. And Dennis has been Santa's helper since he was 17 years old. And how old are you now?
Close to 20. No, I just turned 70 this year.
So that's a lot of years as Santa.
Ho, ho, ho.
And when we are in full costume, you wouldn't be able to probably hear him because of the beard and the wig. Now, one year you portrayed Kris Kringle in Miracle on 34th Street on the live stage in Port Austin, and you actually grew out your own beard and mustache for that, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yep, and we just colored it. But it's a lot to take care of for how many months? Almost a year, right?
Well, I think it was a good 6 months.
Right.
But it looks nicer. I'll buy that. And that way when the kids pull on it, you don't have to worry about the elastic.
Right, because kids do post on it. And people who ask us to come to their village or cities here in Michigan, and we do a couple during the holidays, often don't realize that we put a lot of effort into being Mr. and Mrs. Claus. The costumes themselves take us about an hour to get into from start to finish. And there's a ritual we go through. We have to put things on. And the last thing you put on as Santa is what?
My coat, my gloves.
Nope. One more. I help him get dressed. The last thing we put on you are your jingle bells.
My jingle bells. Yes.
They go under his coat. Why do we do Santa and Mrs. Claus? What's important to you about that and keeping that tradition?
Pretty much the expression on kids' faces. I guess even more than that, expression on the parents' faces. It's the time of year people just finally become, I hate to say it, but human again. So I do it for the enjoyment, the rush I get. I become Santa Claus. It's like I hate to say it, but it's like an act or being an actor on stage. But it's so easy to portray that persona for me.
And I must admit, he carries a lot of Santa personality and embracing the spirit of Christmas throughout the year. And I think that's one of the reasons why we like to do that. Now, I mentioned that there's a whole bunch to go into getting ready as Mr. and Mrs. Claus, but you actually start getting ready for the season a few weeks or even months earlier, because every year there's a new crop of toys that kids are going to be asking for, and you don't like to be caught up short not understanding what they're asking for, right?
Exactly. Well, exactly. I need a new voice box.
Too many outside tree lightings this year.
But yeah, catching up on what the kids may want to ask. Santa for, um, and understanding, like you say, understanding something, because nowadays with the technology, um, they'll throw things at me like I have no idea what they're talking about.
Or we
Uh,
don't understand them, and I have to whisper in your ear what they're saying.
exactly, and that's the other problem, is being able to hear when you've got all that hair and beard hanging over your ears.
Or
Um,
we're outside and there's a crowd going.
yeah,
So you've got the noise of the
Yep.
crowd, you've got timid kids, and then you've got kids that just can't wait to see Santa every year, and the parents um, who want to know what they said to Santa, which is part of my job. And if you take kids or grandkids or neighbors, friends, or nephews and nieces to see a Santa, I hope you do it in the spirit of Christmas. It's not about the gift giving per se. It's not about the receiving of everything you want on a list. It's about the joy of the season and expressing love to one another. And that's what we try to bring to our portrayal of Santa and Mrs. Claus. And we're always cognizant of what we say to the children so we don't get the parents in trouble. Do you ever promise anything to the kids?
never. Um, well, I might have occasionally, once in a while, throughout the years,
If the parent
but normally my comment is I'll ask them what they want, at least one thing that they want anyway, because sometimes the lines are really long. Um, but I'll tell them that as long as they're good, um, I will see what I can do for them. I never promise anything, um, unless they're older, and then I'll promise, things like the Jaguar in their car in their driveway
oh, you
on
do
Christmas.
not. I think one of the things that has surprised us the most about all of the years we've been doing Santa and Mrs. Claus together are the unexpected requests from children. And you would think that the ones that come to see us always want something for themselves, and they don't. We've had many kids ask for their brother or sister or their mom or dad or grandpa to get better from being sick.
Yep.
And we've had kids bring us coins, like quarters and dimes and nickels, especially here in Michigan if there's no snow, because they feel that we can't use the reindeer if there's no snow to get from house to house. So they bring us money to pay for gas for a motorized sleigh. I never thought about that until the kids started doing that before.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me. I mean, early on when I was doing uh, the portrayal of Santa, I didn't get a lot of gifts. I got letters, which was great. Nice. I keep all my letters. I have a box with all the letters,
all the letters, all the lists, all the gifts we get. So the few coins that we've gotten over the years are there. The other day we got a pine cone that was decorated by one of the kids. We've got that in the box.
Yep.
Yep.
It's kids realize that this time of year, yeah, it's for them, especially younger ones. It's the gifts, but they also realize it's a giving situation, and they give of themselves. It's a lot of times just being able to come up and sit on the lap of Santa Claus. That's something giving right there, because they're shy. Maybe it's their first time ever seeing Santa Claus.
There's a lot of fear about sitting on strangers' laps. So parents, and we do too, carefully negotiate that. We never force any child. And a lot of places don't have a Mrs. Claus sitting next to a Mr. Claus. And my job is very specific too. Santa is always the spotlight. My job is to help move the line along, to hold any gifts so you can take care of and speak directly to that child so they get your full attention when they're with you.
Exactly.
And often a child who's too shy to go to Santa will come and sit on my lap. One thing that surprised me this year is we had an inordinate number of adults who wanted pictures with Santa and Mrs. Claus
Yep.
and to sit on Santa's lap this year. And I have some ideas about why that was so. For some, it was just for fun. We had here in Michigan, we had a whole group of women who were visiting from New Hampshire and just thought it was really fun because they didn't even know the tree lighting was going to be going on in the little village we were. So, and then our arrival was a surprise as well because it hadn't been publicized that very much that we were going to be there. Why do you think this year, more than any other, adults were really embracing being with Santa?
I don't know. I guess I really haven't given it a lot of thought, other than I think the way the world is in the state we're in right now, um, that we're trying to mesh things back again, and I think that the adults that's their way of communicating um, back to society, even to themselves.
And their childhoods.
Yes, they're going back and they're remembering what it was like. Um,
And if you told me that their childhoods weren't the memories that they wish they were, especially around the holiday times, some of them had alcoholic parents or uncles or grandparents, and thinking back on those holidays weren't as joyful for them now as they are for many people. You and I had for the most part, really nice holidays growing up,
yes,
even though our families may not have been the richest or,
exactly.
and I came from a blended family, but my memories of the Christmas and the holiday times are for the most part very positive. But for some people, they weren't, and they really enjoyed making a new memory about the holiday. And that brings us back to the topic for today, creating traditions. So I want you to think about what traditions you have for yourself and your business and your family that you want to carry forward. We have a couple traditions in our family that are hard for us to keep up with anymore because it's difficult for us to travel in Michigan if the weather's really bad. Even as much as a decade ago, we didn't fear traveling in bad weather and bad road conditions. You're brought up with it. You're taught to drive it in Michigan, and you just go out and you do it. Now that we're older and there's some health concerns and the cars are older and people drive a little more crazy and there's more cars on the roads, we have a policy that we don't go to the Christmas Eve or Christmas Day celebrations that our individual families often have if the weather's bad. We stay home, and we've embraced that tradition by adding a new tradition about what we eat. So rather than worry about having the traditional turkey or the ham or the goose or whatever it is that your family has, we go for something that we don't do very often, and we do it for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. And for us, that's seafood.
Exactly.
We have family members that really don't care for seafood. We both love it. So we usually have lobster and crab legs and scallops.
Yep, it's the Christmas gift to us. Yep.
And I think part of the reason that works for us is that it's a choice we made. We don't say, oh my, the weather's really bad, we can't do this. We're choosing not to do that. And we have legitimate reasons, guilt-free reasons for doing that. Is it disappointing not to be with all of the family that we're used to being with during those 2 days? Yes. We're both from the Detroit area, me, Detroit proper, Dennis from one of the eastern suburbs. And for many, many years, we went down Christmas Eve, spent Christmas Eve with your parents or sister. And then the next day we would go to my dad's house. Christmas Eve was also the time for my family to get together at my cousin's house. And we packed a lot in. And then there was also the famous Mariotto birthday or Christmas bash that we also attended because that's their family with us too. And they've moved theirs to the Saturday after now. So we will be going down to that, provided
The
weather is
good.
good. And they know we won't be there. If the weather's bad, we will let them know. But that's a way of embracing a new tradition for yourself that you love. So whether we can go or not, we have a backup plan that makes us happy.
Yes.
Yes. So are there other traditions that we've let go of? I can think of one. We don't decorate the house like we used to, because we don't have many family or friends that come out here in the rural area to see us at home. And it's a big pain to put everything away. Climbing up and down the basement steps is a little more difficult for us. So we do a minimal bit of decorating. One thing that has stayed constant, though the ingredients have changed, is Dennis and I preparing Christmas treats to give as gifts.
Yep. I again, maybe it's the Santa, excuse me, the Santa thing.
Or the chef thing.
Or both. Yeah, or both. But I was always, I mean, again, Christmas was always a giving time of year. And I enjoy giving gifts. I enjoy seeing the joy that it brings to people.
You're a really generous man, and not being able to have the money just to buy the gifts we'd like to give everybody is hard. So again, we've embraced the giving of something people can eat. We know that they look forward to. So in the past, we also always smoked turkey breasts or turkey breasts, right?
Yep. Well, it started out with cookies, and I would give everybody a large tin of cookies for Christmas. But it got to the point where one year I ended up spending 8 hours in a commercial kitchen baking almost 200 dozen cookies. And at that point in time, I said, you know what? This is way too much work.
And then to come home and bake more, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, and the people appreciated it, definitely. But then that's when I went to the turkey breast. I was smoking a turkey breast, and then I would give that to the family as a whole. And it wasn't as much time in a way, but smoking things and preparing them and wrapping them and all that still took time. But
And the last year, really, we did that was the year you had your heart surgery. And Mrs. Claus had to figure out how to do all of the smoking of the turkey breast because he was laid up and couldn't handle it himself. So we changed back to cookies again shortly after that.
Yep. I just don't do as many as I used to. And that's okay. It's not the amount of the gift. It's the fact that it's a gift.
And that it
comes from here. Yeah.
We put specific time and effort into the cookies and the breads we make and the candy we make that we know our family loves. If you were not to give your famous SE shortbread cookies to certain family members, we would probably be disowned. And if I didn't give some of my butter toffee crack, their name, not mine, which is a type of caramel corn, we'd probably be disowned. It's what they really look forward to. And it's like, did you mail them? Are we going to see you? And we love that they're anticipating certain things from us, and we love to supply that. So that's a change in tradition for us. That is one that's carried over and that we've tweaked to better fit our lifestyles now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But new ones are always cool too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are there any traditions that you can think of that you grew up with that you no longer do, or you couldn't see the purpose of when you were growing up, other than church, maybe?
Yeah, there was that. I was raised Catholic, so midnight mass on Christmas or Christmas Eve. How are you going to look at that?
And me too, for Southern Baptist.
There was that midnight mass thing. But I think the tradition I missed the most is being able to get together more with the family. Um,
Yeah, our family is scattered compared to where we are.
yeah,
We kind of left the area more than they did. So my kids are very scattered, and
yeah, and at least my son's back in Michigan anyway,
but
so
still 100 miles away.
so yeah, it makes it a little easier at times. You don't have to take a plane to St. Clair Shores to do that, but um, that and the fact is we're getting older and family is thinning out. Um, Sorry to say, but it's a fact of life. Um, so instead of having 25 people to go see, it's dwindled down to maybe 15.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess that's one of the traditions I miss the most is not seeing family um, as a whole.
And I know a tradition that I miss personally is I always made it a point to go and see family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, and I still do that as much as possible. But I don't think that is reciprocated as much across the board as it was when we were growing up, that you always went to the grandparents' house or the great grandparents' house. There was always a, a gathering every year. And granted, sometimes that has gone by the wayside because people don't have good memories about that. There are some families you can't put together for more than 10, 15 minutes that you don't have fights erupting about politics or religion or what happened when they were, 5 years old in school. So the point I wanted to make is let go of the bad memories and make new ones that you can choose to embrace your way. I no longer feel bad because people don't come to visit us here at Christmas time. I don't care what time of year they come to see us. I'm happy to see them. But I let go of feeling like they owed it to us.
Yes, or we to them.
Or we to them. Exactly. I think one thing that has really made it easier to do that is a forum like we're doing today. Most people, including most of our family, I only have one out of my 12 brothers and sisters who's not on Facebook. So, or actually two of them, the other being my son. There are ways to use a medium like Facebook or a phone chat or a Voxer or Zoom, and you can actually be face to face with someone and have a live conversation with someone like we're having today, side by side, but also with you out there all across the United States, Canada, and if you're if you're watching this from around the globe. We didn't have that when we were growing up. You had to go visit relatives or you didn't see them at all. So there are ways to make new traditions that weren't available before. And I think you'll agree, right? That it's a good thing to celebrate what you can do. Look for the solutions in life. And that's the whole purpose of bringing Fast Action Fridays to you each week, is to give you some insight, some advice from myself, from Dennis, from all of the various guests I have on, and some fast action tips that you can implement in your own life. So this week, whether you're watching this before Christmas or in the middle of July, I want you to embrace creating traditions that you love to continue and letting go of any bad memories of ones from the past. What's your final message today?
Wow.
He's asking for a new throat for Christmas.
I guess that traditions aren't necessarily large things. Tradition could be that um, you decide on Christmas Day to um, read a book, uh, or you decide to just sit, relax, have a conversation on a one-on-one, as
Turn
opposed
the
to
TV off.
turn your cell phone off. Just get rid of the technology for a while and go back to the human touch, I guess. And I think that's the biggest thing is yeah, technology is great. It really is. And like we're speaking now, um, we are touching base with people, and that's a good thing. But you don't always have to use technology to be able to have a good conversation.
And in lieu of any of that, just send it from your heart, good vibes, good energies, good feelings to others. Because I believe, and I know you believe, that people will receive the intent from those.
Yes.
This is Kat Sturtz and Dennis Sturtz closing another episode of Fast Action Fridays. Have a wonderful holiday season, whether it's December where you are or any other time of the year. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.